just going through that. So Dave Rollins, Dave, thanks for being on the call. I know you're here, HOL. Dave, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us just a minute summary of what you do and what have you been doing at VMware?
Oh, perfect. So, again, my name is Dave Rollins. I'm the content architect with the Hands-On Lab team. Been here about, I guess, 4 years. This will be my fifth VMworld in this role, but about 8 years at VMware in general. And that's my main goal is to work with the different business units to figure out what they want in a lab from their products, and then go out and help people create it, and then to tie it back into marketing, help the marketing people go out there and push these labs to our users.
Right. So you've been doing this for multiple years now, right? If I remember right, I think I've worked with you for at least 4 years between doing cloud cred promotion on the labs and getting all the labs together. So this is old hat for you now, and we hit a. It's funny because I look at HOL and I think VMworld, but now they're 24/7 all year online.
365.
And
right.
so you're just constantly working on these things, right? And you're kind of like in this marketing role of every quarter there's new announcements, new labs have to be designed and put in place, right?
Right, and you're exactly right. We moved, or we're trying to shift from our typical 2 cycles a year. So we do one for VMworld, and then kind of an update, what we call our spring release. So we just launched those labs. But we're seeing that, with these quick release cycles, like you were saying, every 3 months we're seeing updated products that need new labs. So it's a bit of a higher pace now.
Right. So in this space where the pace is picking up, do you guys have like a bigger team now? Has the team expanded? In the old days, the labs were kind of like built together with the SEs and some of the product people just for VMworld, and it was kind of like whatever everybody could scrap together and build was what actually got built, and it got more mature. But do they have a full-time team now working on this content development?
Not the content development. That's something that we are seriously looking into now. As we've grown. When I initially started with the team, like you said, about 4 years ago, we had maybe 28 labs total in our catalog, and we're looking at probably close to 90 this year. And it's just gotten a lot for our team to be able to develop, and a lot to support that development. But then also in turn, there's that volunteer SE army to create it. So yeah, we're looking at avenues to get some help.
Well, then there should be a big shout out to everybody that's doing that, because it still is not their day job.
Exactly. It's a really interesting thing to call out, that all of those labs are developed kind of outside the 40-hour week day jobs that those individual people have.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the lab so great, and some of the content that we do is those resources that are volunteering their time are speaking to the customers, and they're kind of understanding what they're looking for, what they want to get out of a lab, and then go back in that 41st to 80th hour of the week and to create that content.
Right.
So to understand then, do you guys are you building new labs throughout the year? Do you still have these 2 cycles? You moved to 2 cycles, and then what percentage of those labs are actually available online versus what percentage of them are just at VMworld, or are they all now online?
For the most part, they are all online. Actually, I think this year is the first year that we've had everything at VMworld online and available. We are, and this, I guess, is a little bit of a preview. We're working on getting a vSphere 6.7 lab released. It was too late. The code drop is too late for our spring release, but it's out now, and we don't want to wait till VMworld to release it. So there are certain circumstances where I think we're kind of breaking that traditional 2-year or twice-a-year cycle and getting that content out there as soon as we can for some of these really critical products.
Interesting. Does that change the value prop for VMworld? Right? Do we see less people taking them at VMworld? Do you get feedback on, no, people really like to be at VMworld taking the labs? What's the story there? Because for me, it would be like, once I can do this stuff online, maybe I reprioritize what I'm doing at VMworld. Or is VMworld a place where I carve out, 30 hours, and I actually just make it my training event, right? Because I never get time to do anything other than what's on fire these days.
Yeah, I remember that. That was one of my first years as a captain. I think it may have been 2011, where we had one promotion where, if you took the most number of labs, if you took every lab, you get a free pass to VMworld, and there was one guy who was there every day, constantly, back and forth, and he actually did it, and he ended up winning the free pass. But and initially, to your point of thinking people are coming to VMworld going, hey, I'm going to block off this time, but, I can take these when I get home. That was kind of our thought, too, but we're still seeing record numbers. Like last year was our highest number of labs taken of all time. So I think that it just depends. I think some of the newer people may come in because we're seeing the majority of people have never taken a lab before coming to VMworld and taking labs, and maybe they just are new to the environment and want to see what it's all about.
Yeah. I'm going to let Valdecir, ask a question, right? Because he's here, and maybe we'll get him off mute and let him ask one of his favorite HOL questions.
Actually, I can hear what he's saying, but I really love the HOL. I'm a huge fan of it. I use it all the time. And what was the biggest HOL course that was taken in the last VMworld?
I know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. It has to do with the evil empire from Amazon, I think. That would be my guess, right?
No.
No, no.
No, that was like number 4, number 5.
In a row winner of at the show itself, VMworld, it is NSX.
Yeah.
That's in the top lab for 4 years.
Award goes to Graham.
But 1 mile.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
No, nothing. In the chat, Graham predicted that it was NSX, so we're just giving him a shout out.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but online we actually do better with vSphere. So the vSphere 101 lab, just the general introduction to it.
It's shocking that that's still the number 1, but I think that incorporates the what's new, right? Also, or is that no? I take that back.
Yes.
It's a separate lab, maybe. But it's interesting, the value prop of VMworld, especially in this past year. We made some product announcements. Hey, this is live and available now, or we're making the announcement and it's going to be released soon. But that day, we released the lab. So it wasn't on the initial lab list if you went the first day of VMworld. But, day 2, after
when
the
we
keynote,
announced
we made the
products.
announcement,
Yep.
and day 2, there was a brand new lab for that product. And I think Wavefront and maybe the App Defense
Right.
were the two that showed up. And so there's something about being at the show, hearing an announcement, and then almost immediately being able to go and try that product.
Yeah.
That's magical.
That's actually a really good idea, too. We should get Pat and others to actually talk about the lab during the keynote, right? Get people excited about, and by the way, we got the lab, it's opening up today, so hope everybody's up there. I'm going to be up there checking out the labs, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of part of the event. Yeah.
And there's also something about being at the lab, being at the hands-on lab at the show, and being able to raise your hand and have somebody, a VMware trained systems engineer or technical account manager who's an expert at that lab come over and help you. And if they can't help you, then have the author of the lab walk over and be able to help you. So.
Yeah, it's always it's a value prop.
Well, one other thing to keep in mind too, and this will change with VMworld Europe being in November this year. We typically wait until the end of VMworld Europe, so when that's over, that's when we release the labs on a public portal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bigger gap this year. Instead of that week in between VMworld US and Europe, there's a couple of months before they'll get released.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so time between the two shows.
Yeah.
So we still do that. That's interesting to know. There's also kind of marketing of labs these days. So you guys are running some kind of contest to get people to come in and do labs. Talk to us about why do you guys run marketing events for HOLs? And what is the one that you're running right now?
So right now, as I mentioned before, we just wrapped up our spring release, and to kind of help promote the labs and some of the new content that's out there, we have a PKS lab that's new. Our vSAN lab's been updated to the latest code that we have at the time, again. But what we're doing is, if you do need to take the lab from a specific page, you can just go right to VMware.com, and there's the page on the very front page. There's one of the banners there that talks about the contest, or you can just go to VMware.com/promotions and look for the winner trip to VMworld 2018, and that's what we're doing. You just take one of the labs to be entered into the drawing, and we will put you into a raffle for airfare, hotel, and your choice of VMworld US or Europe, whichever show you want to go to. So if you're in the US and you want to go to VMworld Europe, that's fine. The total value of it, so that's the one thing we do need to keep in mind, is we'll cover up to $5,000 for you to attend either of those VMworlds. And it's good timing because the contest ends next Thursday, May 24th, at midnight of whatever browser you're taking the lab in. That's the timestamp we'll take.
Wait, Dave. So you're saying the prize is not just the entry pass into VMworld; it's also the flight and the hotel.
That is correct. And not just in the hotel. These are I was looking at the T's and C's on the promotions page. It is Mandalay Bay for the U.S. and then the Marriott, or the AC Marriott, right there in Barcelona.
Got it. So it's the event hotels. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That changes it for me.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done that. I think one time we did one where we gave away a pass and we covered like $2,000 or something,
right.
But that makes the flight hard, right?
Right.
You get hotel or flight, especially if you go to Europe or somewhere.
But I mean, even the pass is like $4,000, right? So okay, yep, another VMworld thing. I get bored talking about the ways you can get a VMworld pass and get things covered. I understand it. If you're out in the field, it's exciting. For me, I'm like, yawn. Okay, good. Another way to get a pass. I hope you guys. We're going to do a blog. I heard a podcast just on the 17 ways you can go get a VMworld pass. I like it. Getting back to what's the business value? Do you guys look at how many labs are getting done per month, right? Do you guys get graded on that? It seems like if you're marketing the labs, there must be a business value for it that somebody is measuring. So I wonder what is the news there? Do you guys actually get graded on how many labs are taken per quarter or something like that?
We do get graded by labs taken, but we're also moving to this whole Net Promoter Score. And so after every lab, you can take a survey, and that's kind of how we're grading and how good of a job we're doing and how good a job the content creators are doing of creating those labs. But in general, they're just the hands-on labs have been proven to just be such a better way to try out our products in general. So a lot of partners, a lot of customers, even the VMware employees will utilize those as kind of that first touch with the customer to get that hands-on experience in driving that product. It's not like a product eval where you have to have the equipment on hand, actually think of things to try out. These are all pre-performed exercises, no license codes. You click a button and you can launch that environment to try it out in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, so I could see where marketing would be interested in that. It's almost like the new way of judging how popular your product is the hands-on lab measurement versus it used to be the downloads. It used to be all about how many downloads, how many free trials, would kind of give you a parameter of how we're doing from a product penetration perspective.
Right, but you can measure like number of minutes spent using the product or the lab like that.
Right.
You can really get some fine-grained metrics.
Yeah, speaking of that, we get about 51 minutes on average of a person taking a lab every year, and we again we deliver about 1 million labs a year with 400,000 active users.
Nice. So new labs transitioning here. You guys are apparently going to be working on some labs for VMworld. Are there going to be new labs for VMworld, or are they all going to be out ahead of time?
The only one that we're looking to do ahead of time again is that vSphere 6.7. What's new? But kind of the same trend we're seeing last year, even more so this year, is kind of that whole software as a service based products. That whole model. We talked a little bit last year about cloud services. We're digging deeper into that with log intelligence, discovery, network insight, things like that. A lot more interaction with AWS, and I believe one of the labs that looks really interesting to me was the site recovery manager integration with AWS.
Yeah, me too.
We're still seeing a lot of, again, just the feature-based products or labs where you come in and you find out, hey, this is everything that's new and good with vSAN 6.7. But more so, we're seeing now that, and we've been having a lot of customer requests for this, is that's great, I understand the product, but how can I use it in my environment? So we're seeing more and more, not only scenario-based, but product interactions. How to solve business problems using, Horizon and NSX, or vRealize operations, automation, log insight. How can I combine those together to better manage my environment?
Yeah, I'll loop back a little bit. I'm going. I can see now as we especially move into cloud services, right, where you can go take the HOL just to experience what the cloud service is going to be before I go activate whatever product that is, right? Mm-hmm. And versus before you would download things, install it, and then learn about it through an eval license. Now you're not going to be able to do that because obviously it's a cloud service, but this is a way to actually get experience with it before you activate a cloud service
or know what it looks like, even right? Because for example, I might know what infrastructure costing looks like when I install the product in my cluster, but I don't know what the cloud infrastructure costing looks like as a service. So I can go into the lab, take a look at it. I'm presuming there is one. See what it's like and experience it that way, right? And then maybe make the contrast for myself, and then go, okay, yeah, it is worth it to do it that way, and maybe it's better to pay monthly rather than maintain the infrastructure on my own. There was no question mark at the end of that.
Apparently. Yep, just a comment. Right?
Just a comment.
Which is true. So you're busy. What other takeaways for HOL should people be thinking about with regards to availability? Obviously, the content is going on. You're making availability earlier in the cycle now, multiple times, almost in real time, depending on when products are launched. All online, right? What happened to FastPass? For somebody in chat asked about FastPass labs at VMworld. I think that went away. Is there still on your own? Bring your own device. What's the strategy for delivery these days? How are the lines? I don't remember seeing big lines anymore when I've been walking through HOLs. What can you tell us about innovative ways that you're delivering these at VMworld?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that FastPass initially started when we used to have those wrapped around the block kind of days. A lot of times, though, if it's not the morning, you can typically get in fairly easy, just walk right in and get seated, to take a lab at a workstation where we have those thin clients, and we call it the Cadillac experience, where you can sit down and have a nice monitor and keyboard. Or again, like you were saying, the BYOD, we're probably likely 99% sure we'll still have that. We haven't looked at our room build out yet, but we'll still have that delivery method as well. Because the things we're looking more to build out, that we get more and more requests for every year, and we keep trying to grow them, is the expert-led workshops. We started out with a couple of rooms and 25 seats in it, and I believe last year we had 6 rooms, and one of them had, of course, the NSX room had 40 seats. The rest had 35. I think this year we're looking to build that out even more and increase the seat count. That's where we see a lot of requests and a lot more of the benefit from customers attending those workshops.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. It's kind of like going to a movie theater where you have big seats now, right? You know, where you can reserve your own seat and go there. It's the experience, right? And expert-led workshops, it's an experience as opposed to just going self-serve, sit at a terminal and raise your hand if you have questions. This is kind of like guided learning, right, with people all in the same room, so you feel connected to the people, and then he's telling you what you should be taking away from the lab.
Right, the expert or the author saying, this is the whole reason why we built this lab, is for you to experience feature X, goal Y.
Right. So instead of one big room, you have smaller rooms, one big theater where you have thousands of seats that are just, you have these now very comfortable experience. So I like that idea, and that's a great way to deliver labs. I think that's a better experience for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So scaling that out for capacity, right? Because I know those got reserved pretty quick. Like you had to be in there within a day in Schedule Builder to schedule those out and get your slot. So the goal is to expand capacity, I assume.
Like expand capacity, but also, and we've been working with the Schedule Builder team at VMworld, and we've come up with some creative ways to kind of help with that. Maybe doing repeat sessions, but not releasing them the first day.
Right.
Maybe a couple of weeks later, to give people the opportunity that didn't register the first day and break in there and actually have a chance of getting into one of those workshops. A little secret is that we typically keep workshop seats from being published in Schedule Builder. So we may say that we have 30 seats available, but we may have 32 or 33, just in case. So if you show up early enough and you're the first one in queue for the wait list or standby list, you're pretty much guaranteed to get in.
Yeah, that's an interesting game theory, queuing theory. How to manage your queue, game it so that people that aren't in first. It's like almost anti-democratic though, but I can see where that's useful. To maybe even hold some back and release some a week later, or have multiple releases of that. But I love the idea of holding some lab sessions available, so rooms available, not committed to, so that if you have a lab that's extremely popular, you can open up a couple more full-on sessions of those. Right.
One of the jobs I had was actually managing the standby line. For short periods of time, not the whole time. And there was definitely no-shows, right? There were, 8 or 9 people who didn't show up for the guided experience. So, a bunch of people got in. So, Dave, as we're kind of closing down here at 12:35, we're going to transition to Valdecir soon. But one last question I have is, when are you going to publish what the labs are going to be? Does that come out in Schedule Builder? How do we know what we need to sign up for? When are you guys going to communicate that?
So Schedule Builder, according to my paper calendar, that goes live July 17th.
Okay. So content catalog, probably, right? Yeah. Yep.
So the content catalog, that goes live June 19th.
Right.
So July 31st, we may do another round of expert-led workshops, the ones that we held back.
Okay.
And then maybe again that week of August 6th.
Okay, so you heard it on the podcast first, right? The cheat sheet on how to get into a lab if you missed the original Schedule Builder open, but check out the content catalog to see what the labs are. That's when you'll get the list of what is available from the magical Dave Rollins and crew. And then Schedule Builder, if you missed that, they're going to open some up on those future dates. Go back and listen to the recording if you missed them. All right, so that's one. How do people follow you guys to keep track? Do you guys have a Twitter handle that you're tweeting on regularly?
We do. It's at BMW HOL.
Okay, perfect.
You can find all of our information there.
All right, great. Well, Dave, thanks a lot for coming on the show again and just giving us an update. We're excited about transitioning into the VMworld schedule and all the things that are happening. So everybody should be thinking about the labs they want to take when they show up. Love the idea of expert-led workshops. Watch for those. That means you got to pay attention to the content calendar and get in there before they're all taken, or do Dave's trick of trying to get in the second round. Second round and third round. Right. Yeah, Dave, thanks a lot. Tell Pablo Roche I said hello, and thanks a lot for coming on the show today.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Yep, great. Okay, transitioning to Valdecir. Valdecir Carvalho. Welcome to the community podcast in your now new official employment at VMware for being on the HOL, not HOL, on the vExpert Pro program. We're really happy to have you on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, how long you worked in the VMware ecosystem, and then we'll get into your role here at VMware.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Well, my name is Valdecir, and I've been working with VMware for like 5 years, and I've been involved with the community, heavily involved with the community, and I'm a vExpert for 3 years. What else? I'm married, I have 2 kids, I'm living in Brazil, in São Paulo, Brazil, and I'm really excited to be working with you guys.
Great. So nice having you on board. I think your Twitter handle is @HomeLabber, right? So a lot of people follow you. And do you actually have a home lab?
Yeah, I have a home lab, and my since you announced that I start to work for VMware, my followers just boom.
Nice. Native language is Portuguese, right? You speak
it's Portuguese.
Other languages, or is it English and Portuguese, or what?
English and a little bit of Spanish. I can understand Spanish. I can speak a little bit of Spanish.
Right. Nice. So, the vExpert Pro program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing with the vExpert Pro program, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Okay. So we are starting to develop a new vExpert program. It's gonna be called vExpert Pro, and our main focus is to grow the number of vExperts outside the United States. And we're gonna focus on Latin and EMEA and APJ geos, and we already started to develop some materials to help people recruiting new vExperts, and that's it. We are going forward.
All right. So first thing I'll say is that more vExperts is that we already have 1,600 vExperts. Why more vExperts, and how are you going to manage that?
We are planning to grow, I think, at 3K vExperts, and we will work with spread them in sub-programs. Today we have the vExpert NSX, vExpert vSAN, and vExpert Cloud sub-programs, and we will try to work with them in small niches so we can give them more attention and more tools to develop and advocate about VMware.
So Microsoft, I think, did this with MVP, right? They have now 4,000 people in their MVP program, or some large number, but they actually segregated it into groups, right? Small groups. So, yep, we have the NSX, the vSAN, and the cloud groups, which are 150 people or below, right? And then the BUs work directly with those programs, right? So this would allow BUs to work with vExperts, but in the sub-programs, which means even though the program could be big, you're saying that the BUs can work directly with the smaller number of people.
Yes, that's it.
Right.
And also in the vExpert Pro, we are looking for people who are really passionate about the program, and the vExpert Pros, they will help us to find new vExperts and advocate about it.
So what is a vExpert Pro? Is this like somebody that's a pro? Like what does that mean?
A professional vExpert.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Take us through. What is that?
Yeah, no, the vExpert Pro is going to be someone who will be working together with our team and to find and recruit new vExperts in outside US. So we are planning to have one vExpert Pro in each country, and train those guys and give them tools to recruit and identify new vExperts so we can grow our community.
Why one per country?
Because you want to have a local presence and working with the local VMware offices, and also it will facilitate with the language, because so many people don't speak English and they can understand. So the local vExpert will help us to translate some materials and talk about the vExpert to his public. So, and translate and explain in the way that people will understand what the vExpert program is.
Right. That's really exciting, actually. I can imagine maybe we do have the statistics today about what the U.S. concentration or the North America concentration of vExperts are. Probably pretty concentrated, right?
Yeah.
Yes, John, it's pretty high. Half of the vExperts today are based in US and UK.
Mm-hmm. So to get outside that world, I can imagine that being, kind of tapped for this type of advocacy position in recognition of the advocacy that you've done in the past, that's really what it is. It's a recognition. That would be kind of enhancing to one's career, right? At least it always has been for me to be recognized, to do a bunch of advocacy, to get knowledgeable, first of all, to become an advocate, and then be recognized as an advocate. Then you are looked to as an expert. You're asked to maybe come speak at a local VMUG, or maybe you help lead a VMUG or start one, and you're looked at an expert. I can imagine, again, that this is going to change your career. So to be able to do that and broadcast that outside, that type of opportunity outside of just the US and the UK, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It will change your career. It changes mine. So I think it's a good thing to do, and you are giving back to the community what you get. So it's really excited, and we are looking for grow this program outside US.
So, question then, I could definitely see how it helps their career. I think it helps us grow the vExpert program in that we now have somebody that's doing the correct language, right, and translating that material.
And cultural grounding, right?
That was my next question, is what you are an advocate and how you're an advocate change in each country, right? Like what tools you use, what channels you use, what does it mean to be a vExpert? I know in Japan, for instance, being an advocate in Japan, you don't talk about yourself. It's not polite to promote your own brand, right? Even your own name. So blogs are very popular in Japan because you can be anonymous, right? So a blog author can just set up a blog and blog about it, but you're not promoting yourself, and you're not bragging when you're talking about that content. So so I know it's different in Japan. I can imagine it's different per country, and therefore having somebody that knows the culture, knows the language, knows the channels, and can then customize what a vExpert is in a given country probably is valuable.
Yes, I did something like this in Brazil. When I heard about the vExpert for the first time, we had if I'm not wrong, 2 or 4 guys here that were vExpert. And my first thought was, a vExpert is a person who has lots of VMware's VMware certifications and blah blah blah. But when I start looking into it and start talking with people in the community, I realized it was not that. A vExpert is someone who really gives back to the community, people who blogs and who helps each other. So I applied to the vExpert, I got accepted, and then I start to preach the vExpert program to all my friends and to people in my community. Here in Brazil, the Twitter is not so popular as it is in US. So I went to Telegram, to Facebook, and started looking for people who had usually to do the same thing as I was doing, like helping others and answering questions, and start to invite them to join the program. I help people write the application. I help people translate the site. So when we have one vExpert Pro per country, those guys are gonna do the same thing. They know the language, they know the culture, they know the channels. So it's gonna help us.
Yep,
that's really exciting.
Yeah, nice to have it. So what are some of the things that you're working on now to get started, and where are you focused right now?
Okay, right now we are focused on APJ. We are talking to the APJ people, and we have a kind of a scheduler now, and then I will start to talk with EMEA and Latin people.
Nice. And you've identified APJ people you're going to be reaching out in the next coming weeks to recruit them. What's in it for them? Why would pros, be helping us grow the program?
Okay, good question. We are looking to give them, the first thing is going to be exposure. We're going to give them the vExpert Pro brand, and then we're going to facilitate the communication from them to our team, to the digital team inside VMware. Also, we're gonna promote some local events with the local VMware offices. And we're gonna give them program leadership, so they're gonna help us to choose and select the people from their region during the application time. And I know you don't like to say that, but we are thinking about VMware World passes.
Of course we are.
And also we are planning quarterly NDA briefings, so we could feed them with inside information and things that they can say and spread the word to their community.
Right. So basically building community managers. And on the VMworld side of the PaaS thing, in this case, it's really because you want the pros come together because we're going to be doing some education activities.
Yeah,
right,
that makes sense.
To help them figure out how to grow their base in each of the countries, right? So
definitely.
So it's less about a free pass and more about we want you to come because we want you to work. Right? Yeah. Which is good. Which is, I guess, what free passes are most of the time. So that's good. Well, that sounds interesting. I know we're excited about growing the vExpert program. When you get up to this number of people, I mean, we have to do a shout out to one individual. But before we do that, I'll just say, so how do you plan on scaling when you're talking about 2,000 now? Let's say we're at 1,600 vExperts now. Maybe that's going to grow in country. Maybe we're going to pick up another 1,000. What does it mean? How are you going to scale that interaction?
You got me. Okay. We will work really together with the vExpert pros, so they can. We're gonna give them freedom to manage their community and preach about the program, and work together with them. So it's gonna be easier to us to have people in the local regions. So instead I'll talk to like 1,000 people, I just talk to 10 or 20 guys, and then they spread the word.
Right. So train the trainers and then give them power to be part of the program. Right?
That makes sense.
What about Martin?
Sorry?
What about Martin?
Martin?
Yeah.
Who's Martin?
Martin? Don't recognize Martin? Oh, that's so sad.
Who?
Yeah. So there's a guy, Martin. I want to say Smith, but don't know Martin's last name. I thought you were going to talk about it. One of the big scale out functions that we've done is that we've built a vExpert app. So if you go to vexpert.vmware.com now, it's on its own domain. It's its own app. It's running on AWS. Martin helped us build it, and he spent a year working with Cora Romero building that app. So you got to always shout out to Martin. What's Martin's last name? Smith.
I can't say his last name.
Right.
I checked some emails with him today, but I think it's Smith.
Right. And so now we've moved to onboarding everybody, application management. Even we're working hard on getting the subgroups. So everybody's been asking, when are we going to announce vSAN? The new vSAN nominations are all in. I know the vSAN team has gone through all the applications and voted, and so we have to now announce when the new vSAN members are going to be. At the same time, we have to do call for NSX. vExperts, because we have these sub-programs. Right. Every year we try to run just once a year, reapply to those guys. A lot of the BUs set the parameters for what they want in the program, and once those parameters are met, they have to let them in. You can't block people.
Right.
But the BUs set the parameters of what those are going to be in. Once a year we run those, and so managing that, and Martin has helped us build this big app that allows us to manage the categories of the people, onboarding of of the people, managing of your emails of the people, getting your licenses distributed, all of those things then allow us to scale that out by country because we now have a big app that Martin has built. Right?
That's terrific.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the answer. That was looking for you. That's all right. You've only been on the job for a week and a half, so I'll make that happen. But I think that's why we're doing this now. So for the last 3 years, me and Corey have basically held the vExpert program static. Right. It's been sitting at 1,500 for 3 years now, and the reason is because we knew that we couldn't offer a good program scaled beyond this. We were already at the edge. So we created this sub-programs to allow the BUs to work directly. That scales because now the BUs are delivering services to the vExperts. Right. At the same time, then we automated the whole process through a SaaS app that we built. We're running out on Amazon, and Martin really did a lot of the heavy lifting on that. So I always got a shout out to Martin. Thanks. I think he's on vacation this week. And now we're adding in the geos and the sub-program support so that then you basically allow community to run community.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
So that's exciting. And then because Val is community, you look for good community people and bring them in to help them run the whole program, right? So that's what we did with Val, which is at-home labber, right? Grab a at-home labber and recruit them in to help run that internationally. Which I gotta say, I'll just say, Val, like you took this concept of country program, the vExpert Pro program was really your concept that we looked at when we went to VMworld this year. There was like 8 or 9 Brazilians that showed up out of the blue that were part of vExperts now, right? And we're like, how do we go from 2 vExperts in Brazil to 10 vExperts in Brazil? Right. And it was really because Val was the official first vExpert Pro, right? Where he built a little program, went around, presented vExpert program, showed the value prop, created content in language. Half or more of these guys that were vExperts don't speak English, right? So what he did was close the gap and built a program that allowed a bunch of people in an emerging market to experience what we all get to experience natively in English-speaking, first world countries that have all of this infrastructure already for them. And so we thought, what a great way that what Val did was really cool by creating content in language and recruiting and doing those events, and we should replicate that and bring Val on and let him try to run that and recruit other of himselves in country and allow them to do that. So I just want to say shout out to you, Val, for making that happen, and that's why you're here. We're excited about it. So it's good.
Thank you.
So maybe I have a follow-up question, and that is, are you looking? Is there a requirement, like maybe for to be bilingual in English and in the native language to do that translation and to be able to go back and forth?
Yes, it's going to be a requirement, but I think that when we choose the vExpert Pro, if he's already really engaged in the community, he'll probably be able to speak in reading English. And we also have a few set of things that we expect from the vExpert Pro. Do you want me to disclose this now, Eric, or we will announce it later and with all the things?
You can talk anything. This is our community podcast. There's no such thing as anything private.
It's rumors.
Yeah.
Rumors. Yeah. Rumors. Okay. So basically, this guy, the vExpert Pro, he must be someone really active in the community. He should be willing to help and support the local vExperts. He should be willing to be a mentor to these vExperts and vExperts to be, and he will assist people to start and to apply and explain the program, explain what the vExpert Pro is and what the vExpert Pro isn't. That it's the most important thing, and basically it's going to be this. So we will be watching for people who are already vExpert, and we're going to be talking to them, approach them during the following weeks.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't very secret. I'm kind of disappointed. I thought there was going to be some big reveal there that I didn't even know about. But yeah, it's good. Definitely going to recruit people in languages. Obviously makes sense, right, per country. That's the idea behind it.
Right.
And so, not that that's a checkbox item for that, but I would assume that they would be pretty fluent in their culture and their language to be able to recruit natively.
As we grow and
expand. And by the way, I got to set the record straight. It's not he. It's they. So it's male or female.
Yeah,
right?
Gender neutral.
We'll make sure we make that delineation. We have several different women we're recruiting for pros, and so we always got to say they.
What about countries where multiple languages are spoken? In different regions.
Right. Yeah. Then you have to use sock puppets. I don't know. So what do you want? The answer, I think everybody has to choose their own language, right?
But maybe multiple.
And that comes back to when we look at the pros, we're just happy if they're vExperts and they're evangelistic. I don't think we look at the language first off, right? We just assume that if you're got a lot of followers and you're producing content in a country that that we haven't gone down into the like having a big selection criteria. Besides, look, they rise above, and we go reach out and talk to them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's not that sophisticated of a program yet. It's like basically, look, does anybody want to do it?
But we're looking for one first.
Yeah, we're going to try to get one, and we're not going to try to have a huge number. I mean, my guess would be if we have 50 pros, that would be a large number, right? If we start, how many countries are there? There's 250 or 300 countries around the globe. So sure. If we had one per country, it could be a larger number, but there's a lot of countries that are so small we don't operate in at all. So, that'll be the program, and all the sub-programs tend to be try to keep them under 150. So that's good. All right, we're at the top of the hour. Val, thanks a lot for being here. You're at Home Labber, so give him a follow so we can get his followers up to like 20,000. That'd be great. Thanks for coming in and beaming in. It's great to see everybody. Julia, I don't know how the multi-camera thing worked, but thanks for running multi-camera this time. I'm going to go back and look at it on Facebook and answer questions. If you have questions on Facebook, I'll get to them later today because we're looking at chat, and I can't wait to see what camera views she selected, and now that we have close-ups, we have to be careful that we don't scratch our head and do weird things.
I've been scratching my head this entire time. So
thanks for everybody that's on chat, and now we're going to end with a barbecue, right? And since we have Jenny here, we'll just have to ask Jenny with an I, Jenni.
Yes.
From Texas,
right? Yeah.
Favorite barbecue.
So what's the deal with tri-tip in Texas? I hear you guys just don't think Texas.
I mean, it might be a North Texas thing, but I know at least Central, South, tri-tip. It's all about the brisket.
It's about the brisket. And how about pork? Is pork an okay thing in Texas? You allowed to barbecue pork?
I guess so.
It's just not tri-tip.
Not tri-tip is really not.
And do you guys do seasoning? Like, is there a lot of seasoning, a lot of red sauce, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
See, because in Santa Maria and mid-central California, you're not allowed to use barbecue sauce. That's like a no-no. It's tri-tip grilled properly, and that's barbecue, right? Not seasoned.
I think there are some that are like no barbecue sauce, but I use it. So.
Yeah, you use it. That's good. All right, and that's how we do it. At the beginning of the show is the Bay Area, the water, the Bay report, and then at the end it's always barbecue.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Because it's lunchtime, right? Yep. Dry rub brisket. That's what virtual security says. I
always go with Franklin.
Graham loves barbecue,
salt and pepper.
He loves the stuff, eats it every day. That's cool. So come in on the chat at the end of the podcast and tell us your barbecue story. We'll try to come up with one every time.
Yes.
Yeah. With that, we're going to hit the big end button. Thanks for joining. We will be back again next week, and until then, have a great week and a good weekend. Hitting the big red stop button now. Thanks, Valdecir. Great to see you.